Friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to share my November wrap up with you, and I also have a very important, very exciting announcement. I have been working on a project all year, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and tell you now that I have been filming videos every single month throughout the year. I've been doing different reading vlogs, and I'm going to be posting them all in the month of December. So basically I'm doing Vlogmas, but you will see like how the year progressed, how my reading changed, my intros, my outros, my description box, the things I was reading, the things I was doing. You're going to see me pre-COVID in January and February, and you're going to see me like during the release of Animal Crossing in March. So yeah, so every other day in December you will see a new reading vlog for me. All the styles are different. Some are better than others. It's just a peek into my life and what I was reading every single month throughout 2020. It's been a year-long project, and I'm really excited about it. Anyway, you have that to look forward to starting on the 1st of December and then every other day leading up to Christmas. So get excited. I'm really excited about it. So let's go ahead and jump into the books that I read in November. The first one I read is Her Pretty Face by Robin Harding. This is a thriller novel that I considered pretty average. I think it's my first Robin Harding novel that I've read, and I just was kind of like, meh. I think there could have been some like twists and turns along the way that it would have been like a little bit stronger of a story. I did read this over Halloween weekend, so I do have a vlog talking about this in my full thoughts, but I rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I attempted to read is A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight. And actually, I posted a poll on my Instagram asking you guys, I had like a stack of books and I was like, what do you want me to read next? And at first, this one was winning. So I went ahead and I read it, and it was 3 stars. And then this one ended up at the end of the whole entire time. This one was the winner. So I picked this up next and I DNF'd it. I got 72 pages into it and I just couldn't. This is my second time giving this author a chance, and this is the second time I'm DNFing their book. So while the stories might work for some people, I know a lot of people really loved this. That's why you guys were like voting for it. I don't think this writing is for me. So I'm going to be very hesitant to pick up another book by this author. However, it's like I'm still kind of interested in the story. I just can't get into the writing. So I decided to DNF that one. Then I picked up The Last Story of Mina Lee by Nancy Juhan Kim. And this is another book of the month book. This one came out in September, and I really wanted to love this one, but guess what, guys? I ended up DNFing this one as well. So I made it 96 pages into this one, and this one was interesting a little bit, but it was a little bland at the same time. And the writing and the themes and the topics and the messages that this book was trying to get across, like, I already know, and I think it was like really being heavy-handed with like trying to teach people stuff, and I already know the messages that it was trying to teach me. I didn't get too much of the mystery or anything in the first 96 pages. I don't know, guys. Yeah, I DNF'd it. The next book, I actually finished a book, you guys. I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and this is, I don't know, I've definitely read from this author before. I think I've read like 3 books previous to this one by the author. Victoria Schwab, V.E. Schwab, same person. I know this is a very beloved book. I know a lot of people are going to have this on their best of 2020. I know a lot of people fell in love with the story. It's kind of like a historical fiction, fantasy, literary fiction, character-driven story. I rated it 2 out of 5 stars. It takes place over like 300 years. So you get like things in the past leading up to, so it's kind of like a little bit in the past, a little bit in the future, a little bit in the past, a little bit in the future. And I didn't like the main character. I didn't like one of the other people either, but I did like the other character. And then that person wasn't in here enough for me. And I also just didn't really like how it resolved. I mean, I guess I did a little bit, but I needed more. And I thought that the characters were very two-dimensional. And I thought that the romance or the love was not believable and a little bit strange. And I have a full review of this on my blog, on my Instagram, and on Goodreads. So if you're interested in my full thoughts on this, definitely check those places. All of the stuff is linked in the description box. This one was just not for me, and it took me forever to read. The writing was very wordy as well. All right, next up, I attempted to read Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, and I actually read this, but this is only part 1. So then I had to move on to this, which contains part 1 and part 2. So like about midway through, you know, you move on to part 2. So I actually read this for part 1 and read part 2 out of this one. I ended up rating this story 3. Did I give it 3? Yeah. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. There were things about it I liked. There were things about it that I didn't. And I just posted a vlog not that long ago talking about my thoughts on Little Women. And there are timestamps in that vlog, like in the description box and the comments down below, that like tell you exactly where to find my full thoughts on this book. Yeah, but I'm glad I read it because I've never read Little Women and I've watched a lot of the movie adaptations. So it's good to, you know, actually go to the source and read the source material. Okay, next up, I read Red Herring Hunt by V.M. Burns. This is the second book in the Cozy Mystery series, A Mystery Bookshop. And I really, really enjoyed this one. I love that the author, it's almost like you don't even have to read the first book to read this one. And it like caught you up, like what you've missed, but it also didn't feel like it's just telling you what you missed. It's kind of like just in the first 2 chapters, it's kind of just like catching you up on anything. And then like throughout, like little things are sprinkled in, but it didn't seem like it was telling you like, oh, you missed book 1 and this is what happened. It just kind of like things came up. I don't know. It was very clever. One thing that I loved about the first book in the series, and I rated that one 5 out of 5 stars, and I rated this one 4 out of 5 stars, is I loved the characters in both. I loved that there are 2 mysteries in the first one. One is the main mystery of the main storyline, and then the main character Samantha is writing a book. And that mystery and that storyline and hearing her like thought process like as she's writing, like that was super, super interesting as well. Like that first book was just like flawless in my opinion. This one, however, I did not like the story that Samantha was writing. It was so boring. There were so many characters, and it wasn't until like, I'll say like the 3/4 mark into her story that she was telling that I was kind of like getting the gist of like what was going on, who was who, what was happening. And I felt like I could have skipped over that part and just really, really loved this because I loved the main storyline. The main storyline is a 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Love Nana Jo. Love her friends. Love Samantha. Love Dawson. Love everything about this except for the story within a story. So that's why I rated it 4 out of 5 stars instead of 5 out of 5 stars. But I will definitely be continuing on in that series. Next up, I read Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and oh my God, you guys, this was so good. This is the second book in the Brown Sisters series by Talia Hibbert, and yes, I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. It was freaking flawless. It was hilarious. It was steamy. It was like well paced. It had a lot packed in this short little book. It just, the very first line on the very first page. Oh, also it does have an author's note in the beginning that says that it does involve sensitive topics such as dealing with the death of a close family member and handling general anxiety disorder. So I really appreciate that that author's note was in here, and I also think that it dealt with those topics really well. After that, just the first line is, the moon was high and full, the night was ripe for witchy business, and Danica Brown had honey on her tit. The left one specifically. I just can't with this one. It is so good. I read it so fast. I cannot wait for the third book in the series, which releases, I think it's March. Is it March? I don't know, but it comes out in 2021, and I am so excited. And then I jumped into some poetry because I was kind of like running out of time at the end of the month. So I picked up Kelly Grace Thomas's Boat Burned, and this one released in January 2020. This is the one I got at Yes Yes Books, and I rated this, what did I rate this? I rated this 2 out of 5 stars. I didn't know if it was a 1 or a 2, to be completely honest, but I gave it 2 stars because I think that the poet really stuck to the strong themes of water and the ocean and all things related to the water and ocean, like even like drifting and sifting and like, I don't know, like words like that. It was like just sprinkled throughout the poetry. However, I thought the poetry was very like disjointed and kind of all over the place. One poem felt like 3 or 4 different poems, like different stanzas or lines or phrases taken from one poem, mixed with another poem, mixed with another poem, mixed with another poem, and then like all jumbled together. So like the poems themselves did not feel cohesive. So the collection felt cohesive, but the poems themselves didn't feel cohesive. Does that make any sense? Yeah. Did not enjoy this one. Would not recommend, but there were 2 in here that I kind of sort of liked. The first one was I Try On My First One Piece in the Dressing Room at Ross. And the second one was called Burn the Boats. But it had a lot to do with like body image, past relationships, abuse, things like that. But so I feel like this poet had some important things to tell me. I just didn't get it. So there's that. Next up, I read We Were Young by Fortisa Latifa, and I'm not sure, but it's Latifi. Really was interested in this cover, and femininity, navigating adulthood, the reality of depression, relationships, and the college experience was sharp, honest, enough to draw blood. Okay, guys, this is another one that I rated 2 out of 5 stars, and I thought that the poet had important themes and topics and messages to tell me, but I don't think that any of it made sense. I thought it was very disjointed. I would like part of it, like a couple lines, but then the rest was crap. The last thing I attempted to read in the month of November is another poetry collection, Into It, by Lawrence Joseph. And I ended up DNFing this because I had read 2 2-star poetry collections back to back, and it takes me longer to read poetry because I read it different ways. Like the same poem, I read it several times different ways. Like I'll try to read it out loud to myself in my head. Sometimes when there's poems, like I will read it all together like a big paragraph, and then sometimes I read like it's like lines and then just stop at the break and like give it that really good pause. There's other ones. Oh, like these. that I read, you know, just going down the page, but then sometimes I'll read just this side and just this side. And like I said, I try to read it out loud and to myself and stuff like that. So it takes, even though like a short little poetry collection like this would, you know, you think you'd be able to read it in 5 minutes. I read it several different ways. So it actually takes me like probably like an hour to read something that small. So I was already struggling with those. So when I started this one, I made it to page 14, so it was quite lengthy already. Yeah, I just decided to DNF it because I wasn't interested in it at all, and I was just like, I'm just gonna pass this along to somebody else. I'll like take it to my book exchange. So those are the books and poetry collections that I either read, attempted to read, etc. But let me know if you're excited for Vlogmas. I decided to call this series my flashback reading vlog series, so you will start seeing those very, very soon. I think the first one starts tomorrow. Let's double check my little schedule, shall we? Yes, the very first one starts on Tuesday, December 1st, and then it will be like the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th, 15th, 17th, 19th, 21st, and then the last one will be on the 23rd. And then I'm going to be celebrating Christmas Eve and my husband's birthday and Christmas. And then sometime at the end of the year, I will be sharing my best and worst books of the year. So that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, even though like I did DNF a lot of books. Definitely the highlight of my month was Take a Hint, Dani Brown. Guys, if you haven't started this series, like you are severely missing out. So I highly suggest you pick it up. But yeah, that's all for today's video. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're all having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again soon.